Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another live stream here at my YouTube channel. We're going to be keeping it really casual tonight. We're going to do just some watercolor backgrounds using Distress Reinkers. It's one of my favorite ways to get like a really saturated, really bright, intense watercolor background, because when you use the reinkers, it's already fluid. You don't have to add much water to it. But when you do add water to it, there's some magic to it. So that's what we're going to do. Hello to everyone over there in the chat. I hope you're ready to get going on this. We're going to do quite a bit of painting, or at least two backgrounds. I picked out two different kind of groupings of distress colors that we're going to play with. And I think I might even have one color that overlaps on both. So let's get to this. I'm gonna switch to my overhead. I'm just gonna get my my paper ready. Like I said, I'm gonna do two backgrounds, so I think I'm gonna have two boards prepped and ready to go. And I'm assuming we'll have time because we're just doing these two, and I think they'll work up pretty quick. But I think we will turn them into cards as well. Just, you know, put some simple like die cut greetings on top and call it a day. These are some of my most favorite cards to have on hand because they're, you know, they pack a punch because they're super colorful, but they're not crazy involved. It's kind of fun to do. In fact, I think you could even do a bunch of cards like this, not put a greeting on them, and then wait until you have an occasion where you need a card, and then you just, you know, pick a greeting and put it on. I think it's great. I love seeing where everyone's from over here in the chat. So many people. Kitties are doing well. They've been very quiet today. I have been upstairs most of the day, and they've just been downstairs chilling. So they're just having fun down there. Little Freven. Interestingly, my husband had his coworkers over for a dinner last night. They're in town for some meetings. And I had a tablecloth on our table. It was nothing fancy. It was just a tablecloth. But for whatever reason, Fred is terrified of it. Like, it was like just folded on our kitchen island and just sitting there. And if they moved it, like, Fred was terrified of this folded tablecloth. I don't understand. Whereas Kevin is afraid of nothing. He's afraid of nothing. You know how most cats and dogs or whatever are afraid of really loud sounds, like vacuums, blenders, things like that. Well, I turned on the blender the other day. It was the first time I had done it when they were in the room in the kitchen. And I kind of was watching them to see what they would do. And Fred, like, bolted out of the room. Like, he's like, that's too loud. That is not for me. Kevin got curious, and he's like, what are you doing? And he, like, came over. That cat, he's fearless. He's afraid of nothing. He plays in water. You know, like, he's not me. I'm more afraid of things than that. Okay, so we've got our two watercolor pieces taped down. I'm really going to make sure these are pressed, that the tape is pressed really well, just because these are going to be really heavily coated in water with all of the ink. Okay, so I'm going to do, let me see, look at this. We have a palette over here, and my hands are almost the same size. But anyway, this is our watercolor palette. I've got, let's start with my traditional colors for my distress stuff. I love to use Picked Raspberry, Mermaid Lagoon, and Squeezed Lemonade, because I think it kind of gives, like, you know, the, you know, red, yellow, blue, you get kind of a rainbow kind of color. Yeah. So let's start with that. And so I'm just going to get a nice droplet of that. Probably don't even need that much. Gina in the comment. Hope you don't mind that Kevin is my spirit animal. Too funny. And picked raspberry. I'll put that one right there. Okay, these are pretty intense colors. I'm trying to think how exactly I want to do this. If I want it to be, okay. Should we just do this one kind of like cloud-like? I'm gonna grab a big brush. In fact, maybe I'll use this one. It's like a big fluffy brush. Do you see how big and fluffy this is? I'm not sure where I got this from. I'm gonna spray my watercolor background so it's pretty wet. Go in my bucket of water. Hi Delia, the color I'm wearing is Sultry Samba and it is down in the video description. I'm starting with some squeezed lemonade. It's going to be pretty intense. Adding a little more water to that, get it more fluid. And I'm just going to do like a little, I just want yellow to be in a couple spots. Clean off my brush. You know, I do not have a paper towel ready. And I probably will need one, so I'm going to get a paper towel right here. Okay. All right, I'm going to lift up my board here so I can get it to move a little bit. And now I'm going to pick up some of that Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to start bringing this in. I'm going to get it in a couple spots. Okay, swish my brush. And I'm going to come to that picked raspberry. Such a pretty pink red. We'll do a little up here too. The real fun with this starts when you start tipping your board. It almost looks like tie-dye right now, but I'm going to like tip the board different directions and it's going to start running. This is why I need my paper towel handy. I'm loving this purple I'm getting up here. I'm going to tip my board again to try to encourage those colors to move. I feel like I need to zoom out a little bit. Hold on, I got to put my paper towel down. Zoom out so you can see the whole thing while it's tipped. I love the bright color that's happening and all of this like the color just pulling down to the bottom because of the gravity. Because I've got my board tipped up. Oh, that looks so cool. I love all this purple up here. You know, I was thinking of doing a second layer of color, but after I dry this, if it looks like this, I might have to keep it. I don't want to mess with it. That looks really cool. It is very tie-dye. Okay. I'm just getting some of this color down here at the bottom. Now, if you wanted to, you could, you know, put something underneath the board right here and let it just sit and air dry. But I kind of want to stop the colors moving where they're at. Other than this purple is coming down and I kind of like that. Maybe I will just let it keep going. That's really cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with this background, but it looks amazing. Like I don't want to mess with it. I'm just getting these corners again. Okay, I think I will take my heat tool to it now just to stop everything from moving. And what's sad is that some of the like really bright saturation of color is going to be lost just because it dries and you're going to lose some of it. And that's unfortunate, but it's how it is. Just going to keep my heat tool moving. Stop and just get this bit down here so it can dry faster. There we go. it's not dry yet, but I wanted to point this out. When you're drawing really heavily watered backgrounds like this, your paper's going to bow up. It's going to like pillow up. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is very pillowed up. Do you see that? When it starts to dry, it's going to almost like it suctions back to the board. It's going to, and it's going to go right back down to the board. So if you watch for that moment as you're drying it with your heat tool or your hair dryer or whatever you're using, if you watch for that moment, that's when you know it's dry. Also, you can touch it. Like it feels dry to the touch, but it's also very cool. It's very cold. If it feels cold, that means it's still wet. So I'm going to keep drying it. Just a couple of cues that you can watch for when you're drying. You can see it starting to drop a little bit now. It's not as puffed up anymore. I'm also not staying in any one place too long. Okay, it's practically completely flat again. Let me tip it up. Do you see the difference? It's like flat again. It's not puffed up. Isn't this purple spot so good? It's my favorite. All right, I'm gonna press this tape back down, even though I think I'm gonna leave this background as is. I don't wanna mess with it because it looks pretty freaking cool. I am using tonight Distress Reinkers that I just put drops down onto a palette over here. In fact, you know what? Since I've got lots of the paint left, why don't I just do the same colors and we'll get a different effect for this one. I'm going to start it in a different way. Like maybe let's start it where we want like a smooth gradient so it, you know, almost looks like a rainbow going down. So let's do that. Making sure my paper is really wet. You guys can't see. Can you kind of see how wet it is? I'm trying to get the reflection of the light. It's pretty wet. All right, I'm coming back to my water. Probably should get clean water for this, but that's okay. I'm coming in with the squeezed lemonade. Yeah, let's just start with yellow. We'll do kind of an unusual rainbow pattern. All right, so I've started this up here. Like maybe I'll have my board completely flat on my surface here. Then I've got, we'll do that picked raspberry. Colors aren't really overlapping at this point. Then I'm going to come in with Mermaid Lagoon. Okay. And now I'm going to try to overlap those just a little bit. And I might even bring a little bit of this up here to get the green. I like that idea. Okay, and now I'm going to tip my board. And I don't have a paper towel ready. What was I thinking? Okay. Because there's already color pooling down here in the blue. I'm hoping I don't lose all of my yellow. But we might. All right, and then you can come this direction, tip it the other way. I'm gonna clean my brush the best that I can. And then I'm gonna come in with more yellow right here. Maybe I can get that kind of overlapping a little bit better. All right. These edges will probably be cut off anyway, so I'm not too concerned. I'm going to tip it this direction now because we're going to have it, the colors kind of bleed the other direction now. And kind of see how the pink's starting to go more into that yellow, which is nice. Ooh, I love how this yellow is creeping into the green. That's really cool. The green here at the top, let's be real, probably will be cut off. So I'm going to come in. Let's see, I'm trying to decide if I want to add yellow to the top or blue to the bottom. Maybe I'll add the yellow to the top. We'll see what it does. Whoa, that was way too much. That was way too much all at once. Let's clean that up a little bit. Now I can tip it. And it'll start creeping into the blue. A little bit anyway. Let's encourage that moving. All right, I'm going to stop it here. I don't want that going any more into the blue, so I'm going to turn it. I'm loving what's happening right here in the center. I wish this kind of overlapped a little bit more, so we might do a second layer of color. I say we as if you're here with me. We're going to do a second layer of color and add more color in there. I was worried about the yellow getting lost, and it's like we have too much yellow now. Isn't that funny? Dabbing up some of this color on the side. You can see how it sort of almost bleaches away stuff at the side. Okay, so I'm going to dry this again, and I'm going to watch for when the paper stops being all puffed up. Remember how it was puffed up? See how puffy that is? It's like a big pillow. It's pillowed up because the paper's wet. I'm going to make sure this is pressed down really well, and then I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. And that'll stop all the colors moving. Okay, it's almost back down to the board. Feeling for any cool spots. Nope, it's pretty dry. Double check. It's not puffed up anymore. Love that. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I want to do a second layer of color or if I want to just do water. Because just like water sprinkles on this could look really cool. I think I do want to do just another layer of color. All right, before I do anything, I'm going to get a new paper towel because this one is, I'm afraid it's going to get all over my hands. It already is. Look at that. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Good thing it comes off. Okay. Got another paper towel ready. Probably could use clean water. I'll do it after I finish this background. Okay. I'm going to bring in some of that picked raspberry, and I'm thinking, how do I want to do this? Kind of like a little squiggle. Then I'm going to get the yellow. I'm going to do like a squiggle right there. And I'll get the blue. Do a squiggle right there. Just like big squiggle. And I'm going to get the yellow and I'll just do like a little overlap. I'm running out of yellow, but that's okay. It's starting to get a little muddy right here, so I'm going to stop. I don't want to add any more there, but I am going to tip my board. Now it's not super, super wet this time, but I can see some of the color creeping down right here. I think that looks kind of cool. The colors are mixing down here. That looks really cool. So I'm just going to let it do its thing for a moment, and then I'm going to hit it with my heat tool to dry it. Got some really cool spots here. All right, I'm going to dry it because I kind of want the colors to stop moving. Pretty wet still, so I've got to get it dry. Okay, it's dry. And let's do the spray bottle in the hand water droplet, kind of like bleaching look. And you like flick your hand, get lots of water droplets on. If you have like big areas like right here where there's not a whole lot going on, adding droplets on can add a little interest. Okay, so then you have it at that point, and you take your paper towel and you just pick it up. I love that with distressing. And look at the paper towel. It's kind of cool. I just think it looks so neat when you do that. Like the water reactivates the ink underneath, and then it almost has this like bleachy look to it. Cool. I think it looks so cool. You know, I think doing like droplets of those same colors, like splatter, will look really awesome on this too. So I'm going to dry this, and then we'll do some paint splatter. It's not as wet now because it was just these droplets, but I still need to dry it. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of squeezed lemonade because all of mine turned green. Just a little bit. And like usual, I'm going to do my paint splatter off the edge of a block so that I can control the splatter a little bit. So, where's a block I can use? This one will be perfect. And because I don't want it everywhere all over our work surface, I'm going to put some paper towels out. I'm paranoid it's going to get everywhere. So you guys really can't see it, but I am putting paper towels out everywhere. Put that up there. Put down right here. I don't care if it gets on the board. I just don't want it on my work surface here. Okay. I have my acrylic block. I'm also going to switch to a somewhat smaller brush. I'm going to use a size 8 round brush. And for the most part, like the size of your brush really does help determine the size of the paint splatter. I do need that a little more fluid. I'm just putting that right on the edge of the block. Okay. And then I can like flick off the edge and shake the block and get those colors moving. Okay. Can use my paper towel that's right here to clean off my block. And I'll go into that picked raspberry. This one's much more fluid. It's going to be great for splatter. All right, and then we just I don't want a ton. Like, I think I'm just gonna have it stop there for the pink. Clean off my block. And then we'll come in with that Mermaid Lagoon. All right, just for whatever reason, I'm getting smaller little splatter with the blue, but I'm not mad at it. I'm going to stop at that. And then we will dry this. Okay. I'm gonna sop up some of the really wet spots. That looks really cool. That yellow did kind of like the same bleaching kind of thing that the water did. It looks really cool. Okay, this one's essentially dry. Let's take a look at both of these backgrounds. Same colors, sort of the same technique, not really. Completely different looks, right? Okay, let's look at these two. I'll save these paper towels for our next background. Look how different these look. Same colors. So crazy. This is total tie-dye to me. This is paint splatter. That blows my mind. These would both make great backgrounds for cards. Just put a greeting on it and call it a day. I think that would be amazing. Both of these would be really great with that. All right, let's get another board ready for my second color combo. I think it'd be really fun. I was only planning to do 2 tonight, but I couldn't stop with that first color combo. There's a reason why it's my favorite, and I always go back to it. Okay, where did my watercolor paper go? There it is. Okay. Oh, I'm down to my last 2 sheets in this pad. Don't you worry, there's plenty more where that came from. And I'm also going to get a new bucket of water. It's not a bucket, it's actually just like a half circle container. I cannot get this tape started. Hello? There we go. I'll do another background. This other background, I've never used these colors together, so I have no clue if it's going to work. And I'm almost thinking maybe I want to swap out the colors because I kind of want to do like the ones I just did were very bright, kind of summery. Maybe I'll do some lighter colors that are more spring-like. I don't know. What do we think? Just say in the chat, do you want spring? Well, okay, these are the colors I was considering. I've got Blueprint Sketch, Rustic, Wilderness, and Villainous Potion. I think it could give a very different look. So do you want spring or do you want, I don't know what to call this other one, Moody? Spring or Moody? Let me know. And I'm going to get new water. And then if you want spring, I'll come up with a different palette, color palette. I'm going to clean off my brushes and my water and my palette at the same time over at my sink. I can't even see what you guys are saying right now because I'm not looking at my computer screen. I'm so curious. I'm going to have to go scroll through the comments. All right. Palette is clean. My thumb is still stained blue. Okay, I think I'm seeing more spring. I think I am seeing more spring. And I'm trying to get my palette here positioned back where it was. Close enough. Okay. Cleaning off that brush and also the brush I used for the paint splatter. I better move my water bucket over here too. Okay, so we're gonna go with spring, I think. I don't know, now people are saying Moody. I don't know. Let's do spring, because I think it'll look nice and happy. So I'm thinking like more, not as intense colors. Maybe like a, ooh, what about like Saltwater Taffy? It's kind of like a corally pink with seedless preserves and I'm thinking almost like a maybe tumbled glass. No. I'm looking at my drawer of all of my distress colors. I want to do like a really different color combo that you wouldn't think of. Shaded lilac. Putting seedless preserves back. Maybe just a, yeah. Oh, speckled egg. No, that's a little too dusty. I'm going to go tumbled glass. Saltwater Taffy, Shaded Lilac, Tumbled Glass. I think those could be really pretty. Ooh, an orange. I think I'm going to go with these. So these are the colors I picked. They're a little on the muted side, like more soft. Let's try that. And I almost think I want to add squeeze lemonade in there. We'll see. Okay. Saltwater Taffy. Not spun sugar. A shaded lilac. Ooh, citron would be very bright. And then tumbled glass. Oh, milled lavender. Yeah, that is a really pretty color. All right, there's the tumbled glass. All right, let's try the tie-dye thing from the very first background. I think that could be interesting. Let's see if we can do the same thing. Okay, so going in with my big brush, and we'll start with Saltwater Taffy. And just bring that in a couple spots. I mean, look how much water is on that. It's very fluid. Then we've got the Shaded Lilac. I need to put my board down. I might need more Shaded Lilac. Making sure I have some white spots left. I think when you're doing the kind of tie-dye thing, it looks better if you've got some spots that are left white. Okay. Get my paper towel ready, because I'm going to have to catch some of this, I'm sure. I can already tell. In fact, I'm going to tip it this way first. And then let's tip this way. Other than I don't want to use that abandoned coral up there, so maybe we'll go back this direction. It is much more spring-like in color. I like what's happening right here. Getting that tipped. I love all of this like bleeding that's happening. All that color moving. This little bit of purple up here. It looks so cool. And I love that this is very light and bright. And we're still getting like the distinct colors. We've still got the saltwater taffy, the tumbled glass. We've got some of that shaded lilac. It's interesting how it's mixing. I'm just being patient, letting it kind of go. Thinking I might want to hit it with my heat tool soon. I love this right here. It looks like that is like glowing. It's just so interesting how the colors mix. And up here you've got like this grayish like haziness happening. It's really pretty. How fun would it be to like stamp like the silhouette of like a tree, so it looks like kind of like a really moody morning? Wouldn't that look really cool? I'm not sure what's happening with these two little spots. Probably just part of the paper that didn't get any water. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the color mixing here by using my heat tool. Oh, I forgot, we still need to have it tipped up. Almost looks like clouds at this point. Like I said before, the paper is very puffed up right now because it's wet, and it will go and like suction back to the hardboard when it's dry. So I'm watching for that. Okay, yep, it's flat again. Look how flat that is. I really dig this one. It's so different. It's kind of soothing. I feel like I want to put the words like calm across it, or you are loved, or like something like that, right? That's so interesting. Okay, should we do one more with this color palette? So we'll have two for each. I almost don't feel like I can do a better one than this. It looks really cool. Let's get another board ready. And I'll use that last sheet of watercolor paper on my little thing here. Last one. Ooh, yeah, metallic silver. Like whatever, I mean, if I decide to do a silver greeting on that, that would be awesome. Laura says, how about a moody one now? I guess I could do the other one with those moody colors I was thinking before. That one turned kind of moody without meaning to. I think the Blueprint Sketch, Rustic Wilderness, and Villainous Potion would be an intense color combo. I should have just called it intense. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. I hardly used any of that Saltwater Taffy. Okay. All right, just because I'm curious, we're going to go in with the other combo. So we've got Villainous Potion, which is an intense color. I love it. Deep Thoughts, starring Christine, right? Rustic Wilderness. I don't think I've ever painted with Rustic. Well, maybe I have. I'm not sure. And then we've got Blueprint Sketch. So we've got the blue, purple, green. I have to remember that. Okay. I'm going to start with spraying the background again. And should we try the tie-dye one? I think that's so interesting how those come together. So let's do that. Getting that really fluid. Oh my word, that is so intense. You want a little more of that intense green. Wow. Hello. All right. I have no idea how the Villainous Potion is going to mix with that Rustic Wilderness. Oh my word, it sounds like it's raining outside. All right, now we're going to come in with that Blueprint Sketch. So a little bit of that blue. Okay, we'll see how this kind of spreads. We'll tip it this way first. Oh my word, that's so cool looking. The blue going through the purple. It looks really cool right here. All right, let's tip it this direction. Oh, no, let's catch this first, and then we're going to tip it. Actually, I think I just want to have it in one direction. We'll keep it in one direction. I think having that spot of white right there, kind of in the middle top, is helpful. It kind of gives it a little bit of breathing room. But if things aren't moving enough, like I kind of want the colors to move a little bit more, you can spray it with your spray bottle. So it won't introduce any new colors, but it will get things moving a little bit again. Like I want to break up this really dark spot right here. Really interesting. I kind of almost want to add some of that purple. I'm going to use my smaller brush and just get some purple right up here to break up some of that blue. That green bleeding is so cool. I was doubting it for a minute, but it is looking really cool now. That is so interesting. I love this all right here. I was worried about it. but it looks awesome. So cool. I think I want to stop the colors from moving because I don't want them to go any further than where they're at. So I'm going to hit this with my heat tool. Yeah, it is very cave-like or cavern-like. All right, I've got to get a paper towel for this area here at the bottom that does not want to dry. Once again, it's still kind of puffed up. Do you see that? It's like puffed up right here. Still wet. And I like that as it dries, some of those dark spots are revealing more color. Okay, that is so cool looking. That like green glow, amazing. And I was like all in like, I don't like this up here, and I was trying to fix it. Where over here, it was like doing something magical. That's insane. I love that so much. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Those are all of our backgrounds for tonight. In fact, I might wait and make these into cards. I mean, I'll just post a picture of it. I'm just going to do some large die cut greetings, put them on some 5x7 cards so that I can use as much of the background as possible. That's basically what I'll do. But give me 1 minute. I'm going to show all 4 backgrounds. We're going to pull them off the boards, and you can see what they look like side by side. Okay. All right. So cool. They look so awesome. All right, let's pull this one off. Very inky. I'm going to have to take a craft scrubby to my hands to clean up tonight. Jennifer would be proud that I got all inky. Is it still inky if you've been watercoloring with it? Yes, because it's a reinker. Okay, but look how flat this is because I did it on a hardboard. That is so cool looking. I'm like, stop it. That looks amazing. Okay, now we'll take this one off the board. In fact, you know what? I need to zoom out here so we can see more of what's happening. Move that off to the side. Oh, that one's so pretty. It's just peaceful. I can't get over the spot that looks like a cloud. That's like glowing. I love it. It's so pretty. Look at that. So different. Same technique, essentially, just completely different. Yes, it would be a great Halloween background. Okay. Then we have this one, which was very different. It doesn't really go with our other 3 backgrounds today, but still fun. This one's more of a traditional, like what you could do with like inking and stuff, because you could definitely just ink blend those colors onto some paper and get that as well. All right, and then we've got our original tie-dye that inspired all the other ones. So cool. I think you'd have trouble getting the same intensity with traditional watercolors because they don't like, you know, you have to water them down. I have to dilute them to get them fluid enough to actually work. So doing this with like distress reinkers really works well for this. So cool. Let me move this camera out of the way. There we go. Wow. I love that. That looks so cool. And I love how these definitely have that downward motion, but this one is more to the side. So I feel like I need to turn it so it has that other motion. So cool. Sometimes I make things and I'm like, no way, did I do that? This is one of those moments. I know that, I hope you guys know what I mean by that. Just that I'm amazed that you can do this so simply with colors. Okay, so to recap, you're gonna spray your watercolor background or just like liberally coat it with water. Then you're gonna bring in some areas of each of the colors, but make sure you leave some white areas. Like there was a lot of white left on this one, and that's what allowed the colors to really move. So make sure you leave some white areas. That's how you're also gonna get a little bit of this like lighter kind of like glowing that's in these areas. You need to make sure you leave white. So don't put color everywhere. And then don't be like me and think, oh, I need to add more color up here. I should have just left it. I think it would have been fine. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool. And if you wanted to add something additional to these, you could stamp like a really intricate background stamp design on top, some polka dots or, you know, some stripes or whatever. I think that would look really, really cool on top of these. I feel like I need to do this like that. One of these is not like the others. We're gonna do that. And here we are. I think that's so cool. I think this is gonna be our bonus one. This is what we learned tonight. Those are my favorites. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna close up here. I'm gonna do a quick spiel for those watching the edited replay, or maybe I'll just go with what I just said. But I am gonna give you an outro here. Just you know, I've got a little housekeeping here at the end. So we are now in the month of March, which means that it is time for mail call, live mail call. So I want to give a plug to any of you who have not sent your stuff in. Please, if you had something for the theme for February, which I believe was coloring, go ahead and mail that in like immediately. Instead of doing my mail call video where I open the mail and show it what everyone sent, this week, I'm actually going to do it next week because there were a few people in my premium community here at YouTube that were mailing things like today. So I wanted to give them a chance to get them in the mail. So I'm actually going to do it next week on Wednesday. Is that the 12th? I don't remember what day that is. But I just want to give you guys a heads up that that's when we're going to be doing mail call. Yes, it is the 12th, Wednesday the 12th. So mail call will be on Wednesday of next week. I'm thinking probably mid-afternoon, or maybe I'll do an evening one. I don't know. And I hope I'll see you all there. Thanks so much for watching tonight, and I will see you in another video very soon. That was for the edited replay. Now I'm going to look in the comments for everyone who stayed live. And maybe I'll do this so that you guys can be looking at those backgrounds. It does look like an Easter background. I was going for spring, so that's cool. Yvette says, makes me want to pull out my reinkers and go to town. Well, I say go for it, because I mean, this was kind of a strange color combo. I didn't know how well it would work, and it worked great. So, like, I say go for it. The bonus looks like Taylor Swift. Like, this would be a Taylor Swift background. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that Taylor Swift stands out in a crowd? Because I could get on board with that as well. Oh, Pam says she likes the bonus one best. You know, it's interesting. I think this one is And maybe why I like these others more because they look different from what I've done in the past. This one is one that I feel like I've created versions of this over the years, so it doesn't seem as new to me. But I could see how that could be your favorite as well. A little more colorful, a little more like splattery, that type of thing. Lori says, I have a problem leaving white space. Well, this would be a good exercise for you then. And you'll discover how important that white space is. The bright ones remind me of Lisa Frank from back in the day. I see that. Yep. Too funny. Okay, I'm scrolling back down. Oh, hey, Sika just popped in. Hey, Sika. Pam's asking, where do you get the boards you use to tape your down to? I believe Simon Says Stamp still sells them. You can just search for Hardboard. I believe I originally got these from Blick, from Dick Blick, blick.com, I think. I think it says on the back what it is. A Jack Richardson and Company hardboard panel, 9x12. They're very inexpensive. I think they're like $5, maybe even less than that. Let's see. The colors on the first one were Picked Raspberry, Mermaid, Lagoon, and Squeezed Lemonade. Let's see here. Andrea, if you have a card, you can still send it. I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to do it a little bit later. Send it in. Anne says, I think the green and purple one is stunning. I'm with you. I thought it was going to be my least favorite, and I think is my favorite now. I love the dramatic. I think it looks so amazing. I wish I could take credit for it, but all I did was tip a board. What paper did I use? Fabriano Artistico Extra White Cold Press. Could you do something similar with gelatos? You probably could. I don't have any gelatos. I think those are from Faber-Castell. If you can get them fluid enough, you probably could. Nanette likes the same one, the green, blue, purple. So fun. Oh, this is a good tip. Paula gets old hard clipboards from the thrift store. Perfect. It's like the same material. Shannon says the blue and green one viewed vertically gives me the impression of water and moon behind clouds. Oh, I could see that. It almost looks like this is the half of a tree, and then this is like the sky, and it's really windy. How interesting. Cool. And then, yes, someone mentioned this earlier too. It looks like those underground caverns that are all spiky. Yeah, right? It's all dramatic like that. I love it. Scrappy Cat says, I love the white border around each one. Showcases them well. That's why I think I'm going to trim them down to go into a 5x7 card. These are 5x7 already, so I'm going to trim it down. They'll lose a little bit on the outside edge, but then it would have a nice white mat. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Andrea, for linking those hardboards. All right, y'all, we're going to close it here right at an hour. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for kind of an impromptu little watercoloring with distress through inkers. I think these all turned out really cool. I still think this is my favorite. Wow. What does it look like you could turn the other way? Oh, wow. That gives me a completely different feeling when I turn it the other way. And then, if you turn this one upside down, are clouds? It's clouds, like there's sun coming in. You can interpret this 5 million ways. Thanks for joining me tonight. Let's see. I have a video for you on Wednesday that I filmed with my premium community here at YouTube last week. It's really cute. Uses some new stamps from Mama Elephant. And then I'll have my live on Monday, and then we'll do mail call next Wednesday. So I hope you'll join me. Thanks so much for watching tonight and being in the chat and being friendly and answering others' questions and cheering each other on and giving words of support. I just love the chat here. You guys are so great. I don't always respond to what you're saying in the chat because I want to stay focused for those who are watching the crafting, but I do take notes. Wishing you all well, send you all support. People are having a hard time right now. And have a lovely Monday evening. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.